So I did a GP Replicas versus Minichamps review 18 months ago. It was the 1995 412 T2 Ferraris, and I compared the Minichamps model and GP Replicas model. I sold the GP Replicas models. I'm not a huge fan, but there's quite a few Ferraris that GP Replicas have launched for the mid-90s I'm a massive fan of, and the Minichamps models are very old now, 30 years old. So I wanted to finally go to the dark side and purchase some GP Replicas models. And I have to say I'm very disappointed. So I'm going to do a comparison video right now and explain first the bits that I really don't like about the GP Replicas model. I'm very disappointed. So first of all, you will see quite a lot of reviews on YouTube or Facebook, people praising the GP Replicas models, and that's probably because I won't name any names, but they get the models for free from GP Replicas to review, so they're not going to say bad things, are they? But the proportions, which I've never been a fan of, are horrendously bad on this GP Replicas model. So much so that I'm thinking I'm going to sell it, and I'm a massive Jean Alesi fan. So first of all, to start with, the first negative about this model from GP Replicas is the huge bathtub cockpit side. I mean, the proportions are all wrong. The helmet is too small, but he's got like ET driver figure size shoulders that would just smash about sideways in that bathtub of a cockpit. He's literally sitting in a bathtub. Like, the seat doesn't match it. Like, what are GP Replicas doing? It doesn't look like that. Minichamps had it more accurate 30 years ago. 31, 32 years ago. So that's the first downside, is the bathtub that Jean Alesi's sitting in, and he's got an 8-year-old girl's shoulders. Like, I don't know what they're doing. The next thing is the helmet. It's too small compared to the model, and it's also the wrong shape. So I fitted those Marlboro decals which come with it, and it's like an egg shape on one side, but on the other side it's perfect. It's just, it's like, what do I say? So it's a different shape on one side to the other. So that's the next thing from GP Replicas. The helmet, number 2. Number 3 is the side barge boards. I guess it wouldn't have done very well in the Italian Grand Prix, because the actual second sideboard there is actually touching the ground. So the actual body is a couple of inches off the ground, yet the barge board is grating along the ground completely. So, and I checked photographs and my autocourse book as well, and the actual barge board was in a line with the bottom of the side pod. So again, GP Replicas were drunk when they did this mold. And also, looking at photos, this is far too thick as well. So that was number 3. Number 4 is the carbon fiber weave. Like all GP Replicas models, are just far too thick. The pattern, it's more suited for 112. It'd be better to just look black, how it did in real life. If you're going to do carbon fiber detail, great, but don't make the pattern so big that it looks like a checkerboard. Number 5, I can't even keep count what number I was on. I think I was on number 5. These chassis rivets, fasteners, they're like 112 scale, 1/8 scale size on a 118 model. So they're huge, and they really stick out, and they shouldn't, because they're not that big in real life. I think I was on number 7. I can't keep up. They've mounted the tyres all at the top, which, again, it is silly, and the italic writing is wrong, and the Goodyear tyre marking, its size is too large as well on the sidewall. It's just really, really bad. again, the carbon fibre weave at the rear of the body and the wing as well is just way too big, the pattern. So that's the main 6 or 7 things that I found proportionately or accuracy really bad from GP Replicas, like all their models are. I don't know why they're so successful when they're the most expensive model on the market, and the proportions are just horrifically terrible. And when I look at the model, I don't look at it and go, oh wow, because let's face it, right, we buy model cars based on emotion and memory, and I look back at it and I at this model trying to remember the Italian Grand Prix of '94, which, as a John Alesi fan, was a special race because he got his first pole and he should have won. He blew the driveline, the drive shaft in the pits. No, sorry, that was another race. It was the dog ring. He couldn't put away in first gear at the first pit stop, and he kept smashing the revs, and he smashed the dog ring in the gearbox. But that would have been John Alesi's first win. Schumacher wasn't even racing, and the V12 dominated that weekend. But yeah, I can't look at this model and be like, yeah, like I remember this in the race. It's great to look at. So it's a very poor model from GP Replicas, and ironically, this model from Minichamps, probably released in 1995, it's the early season version, the only version they made, hence it is a bit different. But apart from the driver figure being a bit too high in the cockpit, sorry, excuse me. Apart from the driver figure being a bit too high in the cockpit, it's not. The proportions are more accurate on a Minichamps model from bloody 1995. So, and it probably cost up below £40, about £35 back in 95. So, whereas this is about €250 or more, depending who you buy it from. So, what do I say? It's disappointing. I've got the 95 Ferraris on the way, the Schumacher and Alesi versions. From my memory of owning the 95 one without the driver figure previously, the proportions weren't bad. It was quite an accurate model, and it's my favourite Formula 1 car of all time. So I thought with a driver figure and the Canadian GP version and the Schumacher Test Estoril version, I thought, oh, that'd be nice to have. But yeah, I don't know what to say really. You spent a huge amount of money on a model that, when you buy a model from Exotto or Look Smart or even Minichamps or Spark, you receive it and you know you spent a lot of money, but you look at it and you're like, wow, like, or an auto art model, you're like, wow, like I spent a lot of money on it, but it was worth every penny because it's perfect. I love all these little things. Every time I look at it, I discover something new. It's perfect. It's well built. It's a lot of money, but it's worth a lot of money because of that. Exotto auto art models, enough said. GP Replicas, I don't get the hype. They think by adding some great detailing in some areas hides the awful incorrect proportions they make on models and charge the most money in the market. I don't understand it. I'm still a massive fan of Minichamps. Like 98% of my collection is Minichamps. The rest is Exotto, and then I've got one Spark model and one Auto Art model. This GP Replicas hype I don't get. It's an awful model. I've got it in my collection because I wanted a full Jean Alesi collection, and it's nice to have all the Ferraris. I've got the other 96 Belgian Grand Prix GP Replicas model on the way now. It looked good in the photos. The Minichamps model is actually really good from 96. So I'm going to do a third GP Replicas versus Minichamps video, which would be quite cool. I've got to apply the decals on the Minichamps model. But that will be my third video. I know the first one, I got a lot of views on it, like 1,500 views on it. My biggest ever for a diecast review. So that was really, really cool. So I'm hoping this video is good. And yeah, I'll do one final little comparison next to both models, and then this will be the end. So to end the video, here they are side by side to get an idea. Again, look at the helmet. It's like on the GP Replicas model, it's like the size of an M&M with 6-year-old boy shoulders and a 6-year-old body. I mean, I don't know what GP Replicas were doing, and then yeah. Again, the bathtub as a cockpit. It's anyone who buys GP Replicas models, I guess I'm included in this because I've stupidly bought some for the first time in my life at the age of 35 years old. And I've been buying models since the late 90s. When I was 10, 8, 9, I can't remember, 7. Anyway, yeah, I've moved to the dark side. I thought I'd give GP Replicas a chance because I heard that some of their newer models, like the 82 Gilles Villeneuve Ferrari, was a good model, and that was from one of the biggest critiquers of GP Replicas. So I thought, oh, maybe they've turned a corner. Some of their models will be good. There's the odd mistake, but I don't know. The 97 Ferrari Canadian Grand Prix GP Replicas model I've got as well was like a 120 scale model. I don't know what they did there, but it's the same with the McLaren as well of that year they made. The proportions are just 120 scale. So yeah, I don't know what to say. I'm incredibly disappointed, and when I look at the Minichamps model, I feel like I'm looking at the actual car from the race. It revokes emotion from 94. And I look at the GP Replicas model and I just see something with incorrect proportions that doesn't remind me of the car. I mean, even the driver figure, the cockpit's too far forward as well. It's just horrible. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. I apologise for the shaky camera, but I'm just recording on my phone. Any questions, or if you think I'm absolutely incorrect, you think GP Replicas are amazing, then comment below and let me know what you think and tell me why I'm wrong. Thank you.